What's going on, everyone? It's time for another sci-fi horror uh, action film review. Today we're going to continue on with the Alien film franchise. Talk about Alien 3. Alien 3 was released by 20th Century Fox May 22nd, 1992, and it was written and produced by David Giller and Walter Hill. It was also co-written by Larry Ferguson and produced by Gordon Carroll and directed by David Fincher, who he's done films like Fight Club and Seven, Gone Girl, Zodiac. He done quite a few of bigger, higher praise like action thrillers. But this is kind of his not so favorite one of his films. He doesn't talk about it pretty much at all anymore. He kind of disowns it and stuff. And yeah, there's quite a bit of flaws through the production of Alien 3. So the premise of Alien 3 though is, well, Ripley comes and yeah, her she was floating through space again after she escapes in the escape pod in Aliens and crashes on a desolate planet that's run by former inmates of a prison and are trying to survive their day-to-day lives there. And there was an alien on the ship that ends up hatching and coming alive and start picking them off, killing them where they have to hunt it down and take out the threat. Overall, this film is more of a dramatic thriller. I found it's um, more atmospheric and with a lot of dreadful tones. It does have some unique characteristics where they show an alien coming out of a dog instead of a human, and so it has different attributes and things, and they play with the anatomy that way, which was pretty interesting, and I thought was a really cool, clever idea. And it's very relatable too, because whenever animal dies on screen, especially like a dog or a cat, it's very gripping for the audience. People tend to get really aroused and just anger and pulls the emotion out of it, and they do it so well in this. It reminded me of like the precursor right before the dog turned into the mutated creature in the thing. It kind of has that sort of feel to it, and I thought that was a stronger aspect of this film. But then it kind of just like dilutes itself into more of a character drama, where you meet all the inmates and stuff, and Ripley at first is like, ignoring them and stuff, and then she slowly starts gaining their trust and things like that and pushing it. And yeah, but yeah, most of them kind of go back and forth with pointless bickering, and team morale and stuff was a hard thing to build, even though in that concept of where they are, I understand why it's hard like that. So um yeah, it has some weird structures in this film where it kind of some things lead to something, some things kind of don't really lead to anything, and it kind of just like plucks along slowly. And it's a very standard like alien monster movie though, with like the outcome being very predictable and the look of it. They try to do some unique CG, not CG, but like they take these animatronic puppets that they had and shot them on a blue screen, but they light contrast is so different. Makes it look very shiny and plasticky. So people mistake it for terrible CG, or there's actually only two CG shots in the whole film. And yeah, so as the film goes on, you see this a lot more, and it was an interesting experiment for the time for special effects, because then we probably wouldn't even have some of the high end stuff we have today without like films like this experimenting with different techniques and seeing what works. In this case, it kind of doesn't work. And then you can sort of see it's still sort of like stop motion like issues to it. It's not as fluent and it's not as strong. But yeah. But yeah, so the special effects is okay. The acting and stuff's not too bad. Cinematography's pretty good. I like the dystopian feel of it and that. But then there's also the problem of it was shot mainly in like a old castle. It doesn't really feel sci-fi. It just feels Mad Max dystopian sort of feel to it. Where when I think of the Alien franchise, I think it's spaceships and like your typical sci-fi aesthetic like, yeah, obviously more darker and grim looking, but it doesn't have that. This feels like they're in an old fortress, running around for some reason, and it kind of just throws off that part of the story. I think this film is a little bit underrated, but it does. I can see what people hate it and people don't like it. It has some interesting elements and some interesting characters to go in where they try to do something different. They just didn't know where to take it. So, but overall, I'm gonna give Alien 3 a 2.5. It's still pretty bland, pretty boring, and not enough killing in this. It's just a bland character study with some really interesting, uh, unique styles of special effects, which you probably won't even see anymore these days. But yeah. Also, I just want to touch a little bit on the history of the film that I was able to find out. So this film went through a whole pile of rewrites and everything, and they're shooting the film while they're still rewriting the film, which is usually a death sentence for a film when it comes to this. You can clearly see certain parts are set up for something, and then they had to cut it due to either budgetary or time. Where, yeah, that actual concept was supposed to be like the Ripley crash lands on this wooden planet with like a core that helped keep the people living on there alive, and then the alien comes and kills, which I think would have been a really interesting concept to see. But instead, you get this more dystopian look and done easier for budgetary reasons, basically. And I wish they kind of just went with that. This is a prime example of studio meddling with stuff that they shouldn't, and just leave it alone. So, which I think they learned a bit, and then in the fourth one they kind of did that, and it still kind of just went weird. But yeah, Alien 3, it's okay, but it's definitely not my favorite in the series. I like the other three films way better. So, yeah, 2 out of 5 for me. If you want to check it out, I'll link the trailer down below so you can check that out. Also, link down below is my Instagram, so I always post clips of films I'm going to review in the future on my story. I share the film title hashtag and subgenre film and hashtag, so you're aware of it. Also, my Letterbox is down below, Derek P Reviews. That's where I post my first star rating where I have to watch the films. And my Twitter's down below at reviews_Derek. So follow me on those platforms, stay in loop with this channel. Link this video, share some more people aware of it. Comment your opinions of the film down below if you have any. Let me know what your favorite Alien film in the franchise is, if you have one. Also, if you have any films or film franchises in any genre and on any streaming service that you want to hear my opinions on in the future, comment those down below too. And I'll try my best to get to them as soon as I can, and if I can find them. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Hopefully find something weird, obscure, and odd that you probably never thought checking it together. And also show you my opinions on popular films. I've come out classic films and reviews on other things as well. And let's not forget to ring that bell, because we're actually going to review a documentary on the scariest places in the world that I found on Tubi. So I'm going to be checking that out and reviewing that next. So make sure you tune in for that. And watch out for all those alien creatures running around trying to kill us all off, even in the dystopian ages that we're slowly getting to. And I guess I'll see you all in the next review. So until then, cheers.